Welcome to Tattoo Senti podcast on the art of smelling. You must have guessed that Tattoo Senti talks about perfume and flavors. But do you know also that smelling means to perceive, to feel, and to understand the tendencies of today? Finally, in order to smell properly, one needs to feel well. My guest will be, naturally, perfumers, creators, entrepreneurs, leaders in their field, famous chocolate makers, and of course, well-known chefs. All of them will tell me about their career, their innovation, success, failures, audacity, while pointing out the creativity. This podcast is hosted by Bettina Aykroyd, who is journalist, perfume flavor expert, and also founder of TattooSenti.com, the website. Welcome to Tattoo Senti podcast on the art of smelling. Today, Tattoo Senti takes you to experiment a passionate and unique experience. It all started a few weeks ago at the Palais de Tokyo in Paris. Now it will be on April 23rd at Venice Biennale, then Gallery Weekend in Berlin, Art Brussels. Altogether, Jeppe and Ruinart will travel during 1 year, ending at Art Basel in Miami. Now, I will share you what happened in Paris during 2 days. The Ruinart Champagne has invited the Danish artist Jeppe Hein for a special program titled Carte Blanche. It comes as the annual artistic exercise of the Ruinart House ever since 2008. Jeppe Hein likes to invite the visitor to his installation, so to experiment a participative experience. More, he says that his work represents a communication tool as well as installing a dialogue with people, the nature, and of course, the environment. In a cold atmosphere, just like a glass of champagne, which is also very fresh, I entered the exhibition and I'm immediately emerged with the excitement of the bubbles of champagne. Then a young Canadian welcomes me and offers me to guide me along the exhibition. I plunged my hand into a black box and I receive a piece of chalk. Here are my impressions that I will share with you. I smell and I feel the sensation of the chalk, which is cold, rough. But smelling it, on the other hand, it's rather soft. It has this contrasting aspect, which is harsh on the skin. I notice the chalk is cold. It needs a little moment so to get warmer. It's an interesting feeling, as it is a rough material. One has to know that this chalk actually comes from the Ruinart in Reims. Then, further on, it is the same exercise. I receive a drop which ends up on the palm of my hand. This drop smells delicious, slightly flowery, more fruity. Then it becomes a little more. There is also a sort of bitterness, something like the white skin of a grapefruit. The facets are then unveiled rather quickly. I'm taken away somewhere else. Finally, I come to the last experiment, which is not a minor one. I receive one grape from the Ruinart, of course. I have this grape onto the palm of my hand, which looks like a small sweet. I play with it. It's sticky, shiny. In fact, it's like a toy that you play with, and that you want to sculpt. But now I turn it around in my mouth. I have the feeling of something harsh, which reminds me of one of the shark. Added with a pleated coat, a texture which asks to become softer. Then I crack the grape, which unveils an aroma coming from inside the grape, naturally. Eventually, I feel that the raisin is being still there, becomes softer while I move it around in my palate. Then it ends up by melting. At the end of this extraordinary experience, Jeppe takes us to a colored wall surrounding us, a rare moment of play and of meeting again with the soul of our childhood by drawing just like we used to do in front of a blackboard with the shark we were given, and to draw what our feelings were just after this experience. I want to thank Jeppe for this suspended moment where we forgot everything of the outside world, so to enter into oneself, be attentive to one's emotion and sensation. It was a way of experimenting the grape of champagne in a very different manner. Also to make a new discovery by cutting away the mental, to be here and now. In one word, to live the moment from inside a bubble, to imprint this moment of joy which sparkles. If this experience appealed to you, there is no need to be Parisian. Meet on the Ruinart website or on Jeppe Hein to know more about the different places where it will go. As I already mentioned, the next step is the Venice Biennale, but also Brussels, Berlin, London, back to Paris, and then off to Miami. If you like this episode and you want to support Tattoo Senti podcast and its distribution, don't hesitate to put a 4 stars or a comment on Apple Podcast or on one of your favorite platforms. But before all, you can subscribe to Tattoo Senti podcast so not to miss any new episode. Before the next episode of Tattoo Senti, feel good and be happy.